The heater matrix out of the Consort is actually quite a large and unusual looking unit with cogs and levers and all sorts of things on it. What I'm going to do is to pull it apart and see what condition it's in, make sure everything works, and I'll check the heater core to make sure it's not leaking, and make sure all the flaps are working and sealing properly, because they don't appear to be at the moment. And I'll clean up the aluminium casting here, and I'll repaint this. So initially I think I'll just take this off and drop this in a bath of vinegar to clean it up and get rid of the rust, and then I'll gradually clean it up and make sure it's functioning properly. Doesn't look too bad inside. Certainly the cover looks alright. Matrix doesn't look too bad. As usual, obviously there have been mice inside here. Got some rubbish, but yes, I'll gradually pull the rest of this apart and assess its condition. The Consort's heater unit is actually a work of art. The engineering put into it is just quite unbelievable, certainly compared to ones that were made perhaps in the 60s and 70s, or even the modern ones I think are probably very, very flimsy. This has got what appears to be cast aluminium sections on the bottom. Pieces that operate the airflow are designed beautifully, and they fit into proper parts of the housing and turn. The mechanisms for turning the components of the heater are driven by gears. It's just quite unbelievable. I've managed to clean it all up, and it doesn't really need any repair. I've checked the core, that's fine, and what I'm about to do is to reassemble it and see what it looks like when it's back in operation. The other component to the heater mechanism is the blower. And when they say blower, they mean blower. It's a massive unit, separate from the actual heater box and matrix, but very substantial. It's a Smith's product. Don't know whether it works, but what I'll do before I test it out is to actually strip all this apart, make sure that the motor is not damaged in any way inside, and then clean all this up. Paint this section here black and the mounting, and then clean up this aluminium, which has got a little bit of corrosion over it, but I'm sure I can clean that up and it should come up quite nice. But yes, a very substantial unit, the blower on this. So I'd be interested to see how much air it actually pushes. One would imagine quite a lot. So anyway, at this stage, pull this apart and see how this goes. Unlike some heaters I've seen on cars over the years, this particular heater has a separate blower, and I mean blower. Very substantial unit, made out of aluminium. I've stripped it apart. The motor is fine. I've tested that out. Wiring is fine, and I've also taken the opportunity to paint up the cover on the motor and to do a bit of cleaning up on the outside. I'm now about to reassemble the unit. Smith's heater and blower, I've now completed its refurbishment. Everything was a little bit seized up originally. The cogs weren't turning properly. The aluminium had oxidised a bit, and the shafts frozen in position. But they're all cleaned up quite well. The core was fine. I used enamel to spray the outer casing. It was pitted with rust, but it's come up alright. The blower itself, stripped that down. The motor was fine, the wiring was fine. Repainted the cap. Did a bit of a polish on the aluminium. Not a high polish. The casting is not in great condition. It's got little cracks. Would have taken a lot of work to get a higher polish, but I think the level of polish it has just gives it some age, which obviously it has, but it just doesn't look like a new unit plopped into the car. But all in all, the heater unit and blower has come up quite nice. It'll look good in the engine bay. Certainly when I put it in and use a bit of contrasting colour behind, I'm probably going to spray the firewall silver so the black will stand out, but all in all it's turned out to be a good job.